Speaker, I rise to move a motion for the resolution of the Assembly urging the Council of the Ministers and the partner state to eradicate child early and forced marriage from the community. I beg to move.
Seconders. So, Honorable Gideon, Honorable Rose Yakol, Honorable Happiness Lugiko, and Honorable Marikere Wikokie. Thank you. All members standing, thank you for seconding the motion. Honorable Dr. Woda, can you proceed?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank my brother, Honorable Mukulia, for his generosity. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas social justice, gender equality, as well as recognition, promotion, and protection of human and people's rights in accordance with the provision of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights are some of the fundamental principles of the community to which all partner states have committed under Article 6D of the treaty, whereas under Article 7.2 of the treaty, all partner states undertook to maintain and adhere to the universally accepted standards of human rights, and whereas child and forced marriages are identified by several regional and international human rights instruments as harmful practices that violate, abuse, or impair human rights, and specifically undermine the rights and social status of women and girls, recognizing that African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the African Charter on Rights and Welfare of the Child and United Nations Convention on Rights of Child obligate partner states to take all appropriate legislative, administrative, social, and educational measures to protect the child from all forms of physical or mental violence, injury or abuse, neglect or negligent treatment, maltreatment, or exploitation, including sexual abuse, cognizant of the obligation of partner states under the Convention of the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which is ratified by all partner states to protect children from marriage and specifically outlawing betrothal and requiring state parties to take all necessary measures, including legislation to specify a minimum age for marriage and to recognize the right to free and full consent to marriage as recognized by Article 16.2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which specifies that cannot be free and full when one of the parties involved is not sufficiently mature to make an informed decision about a life partner. Mindful that although the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, Maputo Protocol, require member states to modify the social and cultural pattern of conduct of women and men through public education, information, education, and communication strategies with a view to achieving the elimination of harmful cultural and traditional practices and all other practices which are based on the idea of inferiority or superiority of either of the sex or stereotyped roles for women and men. The protocol is ratified and binding on all partner states except Burundi and South Sudan. Noting with concern that although the age of 18 years is recognized by all partner states as a minimum age of consent to marriage, child marriages are still taking place and exist in community, perpetuated through customary or religious practice, poverty, and insecurity. Concerned that the child early and forced marriage are harmful practices that violate, abuse, or impair human rights and are linked to and perpetuate other harmful practices and human rights violations which endanger the health and general well-being of girls and women. Furthermore, concerned that these harmful practices are in violation of the rights and welfare of both boys and girls by denying children their basic rights to education, health, right to dignity, right to life, and protection against all forms of abuse and exploitation, including sexual exploitation, and are associated with many adverse reproductive effects, including stillbirth, miscarriage, stunting, underweight, and unwanted pregnancy and abortions. Aware that school closure, economic stress, service disturbance, pregnancy and parental death due to COVID-19 pandemic are putting the most vulnerable girls at increased risk of child early and forced marriage, as evidenced by the intense spike in teenage pregnancy during the school closure resulting from COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, aware that a part of the international community and the United Nations partner states have committed to end child early and forced marriage by 2030. As part of the agenda for the attainment of Sustainable Development Goal 5, where these marriages has been clearly identified as barriers to achieving gender equality and women empowerment. Convinced that eliminating child early and forced marriage from the community will enhance the autonomy and decision-making by women in all aspects of their lives and contribute to improvement of their social and economic welfare, social status, and empower women to fully prepare and participate in social and economic development of their families, society, and transformation of the community. Determined to reduce the adverse effect of child early and forced marriage on children, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, including domestic violence, sexual exploitation, unwanted pregnancies, and abortions. Furthermore, convinced that it's urgent and necessary for the community to scale up efforts to eliminate child early and forced marriages from the community in order to enable and empower girls, boys, and young women through education, training to attain and realize their potential and fully enjoy their human rights, and to facilitate partner states to realize the commitment made through several continental and international human rights instruments relating to the welfare and rights of children and women. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Assembly as follows: that in accordance with the Article 49(2)(d) of the treaty, and the Assembly recommends to the Council of Ministers to A, urge the Republic of Burundi and Republic of South Sudan to ratify the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, the Maputo Protocol. B, urge partner states to enforce and implement their national laws relating to the age of consent to marriage and entering into marriage voluntarily and free in order to eliminate child forced marriage. C, establish regional mechanism and timelines for partner states to report on the legislative and administrative measures implemented by the partner state against elimination of child early and forced marriage. Establish regional measures and policies to protect boys and girls from harmful practices during the COVID-19 pandemic, including child early and forced marriage and the adverse effect on child and young women. E, put in place common strategies for partner states to adopt in engaging with religious and traditional communities and sensitizing them about adverse effect of child early and forced marriage on child and their welfare. I beg to move right on.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Woda. Honorable members, I